I always thought I knew her. Kate, my wife. We had a routine, a rhythm that felt unshakable. We built this life together, step by step. I didn't question things. Marriage was supposed to be work, but we had figured it out, or so I thought. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Then something shifted. Slowly at first. Kate became distant. She still smiled, still asked about my day. But there was something in her eyes I couldn't place. A kind of hollow look, like she wasn't really seeing me anymore. I didn't know when it started, but it grew. I kept quiet. I told myself it was nothing. She was probably just stressed. Life can do that to people. We had our ups and downs, like any couple. But the distance between us wasn't just emotional. It was subtle, but real. It started with her phone. At first, she'd leave it around, never too concerned about privacy. But soon, she carried it everywhere, even into the bathroom. She'd check it constantly. Texts, notifications, things I didn't see. I brushed it off at first. People need their space, right? But something about it nagged at me. Then there was her schedule. She started working late more often, staying out for meetings or projects. She'd never been secretive before, but now she was keeping details to herself. If I asked, she'd brush it off, a quick excuse that didn't quite sit right with me. I wanted to trust her, but I didn't feel like I could anymore. One evening, I decided to surprise her. She'd been working long hours, and I thought a home-cooked dinner would be nice. She'd told me she had a late meeting, but I didn't mind. I waited. The clock ticked past 9 p.m. No Kate. I told myself she was just busy. 10 minutes went by, then 30. At 10:15, she walked in. Her eyes were wide, like she was startled by my presence. I stood up, trying to mask the irritation bubbling in my chest. "You're late," I said, my voice softer than I intended. "I got caught up," she answered, her smile thin, strained. She wasn't looking at me fully, her eyes darting to the side as if searching for an escape. I wanted to press, but I didn't. Dinner had gone cold. We ate in silence, me watching her every move, trying to decipher the distance between us. She wasn't herself. She was somewhere else, someone else. The woman sitting across from me wasn't the Kate I knew. As I watched her, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Something had shifted, and I couldn't figure out when it had happened. But I knew one thing. Something was breaking. And it wasn't just about the dinner or the silence. It was something bigger. And I couldn't tell if I was losing her or if I had already lost her to something I couldn't understand. The distance between Kate and me kept growing. She was still physically there, still kissed me goodnight, still said, "I love you," every morning. But it felt like there was a wall I couldn't see, but could feel. Her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. Conversations felt like they were happening between two strangers, not the people who had built a life together. I noticed the little changes first. Her phone became her constant companion. She'd take it with her everywhere, even into the bathroom. She used to leave it around the house, but now she kept it close, always checking it, always guarding it. It was subtle at first, but I couldn't ignore it. Something was off. Then she started staying late at work more often, going to meetings I never heard about, working on projects I never saw. When I asked, her answers were vague, too vague. She brushed it off like it was nothing, but I wasn't buying it. One afternoon, I came home early. The house was quiet, but I didn't think much of it. I thought I'd find Kate on the couch, lost in her phone or a book. But when I walked in, I froze. Her phone was on the kitchen counter, face up. A text was visible. I didn't plan on looking. I didn't even mean to pick it up, but I did. It was a simple message. "I'll be there soon. Can't wait to see you." From a name I didn't recognize. My heart raced. I didn't know who the person was, but I knew they weren't a work colleague. Kate never mentioned anyone named Carly. I set the phone down quickly, my mind already jumping to the worst conclusions. I wanted to scream, but I just stood there frozen. My stomach churned with something between anger and disbelief. When Kate finally came home that night, it was the same story. Another meeting, more work, But she wasn't herself. Her eyes kept darting around the room, avoiding mine. She didn't sit down right away. She just stood in the doorway, fidgeting with her keys. I couldn't wait anymore. "Who's Carly?" I blurted out. Her reaction was immediate. Wide eyes, a sharp inhale like I'd caught her off guard. "Carly," she repeated too quickly. "I don't know what you mean." "I saw the text," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Who is she?" Kate's face turned pale. She looked away, her lips tight. She didn't answer right away, and I knew then that I was right. There was something going on, something she was hiding. "It's nothing," she said after a long pause. "Just a friend. From work." But I could see the lie in her eyes. The way her hands trembled when she spoke, the way she couldn't meet my gaze for more than a second. It wasn't nothing. She was hiding something, and it wasn't just a random friendship. I didn't press her. I didn't want to hear any more lies. I was done with the excuses. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just kept thinking about that message. "Can't wait to see you." What did that even mean? I wanted to know more, but I already felt like I was sinking into a pit I couldn't escape. I didn't know who Carly was, but I knew one thing for sure. Kate was lying, and I wasn't sure if I could trust her anymore. The days after I confronted Kate felt like I was walking through a fog. She tried to act normal, like nothing had changed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that she was pretending. She'd kiss me good morning and smile, but it wasn't the same smile. It felt rehearsed, like something she was forcing herself to do. I could tell she was keeping something from me, and it made everything feel wrong. I didn't push her after that night. I couldn't. But I couldn't just forget the text either. I thought about it constantly. "Can't wait to see you." Who was she seeing? Who was she keeping this secret from me? Carly. It had to be Carly. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much had changed between us. Kate used to tell me everything, even the small stuff. But now, she was always evasive. If I asked her about her day, her answers were brief, disconnected. She seemed distracted, like she was elsewhere, not with me. One evening, she came home later than usual, her usual excuse being a late meeting that ran over. But this time, something felt different. She was rushing, like she was trying to get inside before I could say anything. When she walked in, she didn't even greet me. She just headed straight for the bathroom, her phone glued to her hand, just like always. I wasn't sure what made me do it. Maybe it was the rising anger, or maybe just that gut feeling that something wasn't right. I followed her. I stood at the bathroom door, just listening, trying not to make a sound. I heard the faint click of her phone unlocking, then the soft murmur of her voice. She was talking to someone. She was whispering. I couldn't make out the words, but I could hear the tone. It wasn't casual, like the way she'd talk to me. It was soft, almost flirtatious. She was laughing in a way she hadn't laughed in months. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. My pulse quickened. I wanted to barge in and demand answers, but I couldn't move. I just stood there, frozen, listening to her laugh with someone else. It wasn't just a conversation. It was an intimate conversation. And I wasn't part of it. When she came out of the bathroom, she acted like nothing had happened. But I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't fooling anyone. She was hiding something, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could ignore it. I decided I wasn't going to wait around for her to tell me. If she wasn't going to come clean, I was going to find out on my own. That night, when she went to bed, I waited until she fell asleep. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to invade her privacy. But I couldn't just keep sitting in the dark, pretending everything was fine. I grabbed her phone. It was right where it always was, beside her pillow. My heart pounded as I unlocked it. There it was again. Carly. There were several texts, but the one that stood out to me was from a few hours ago. "I miss you so much. Can't wait to hold you again." I felt sick to my stomach. My hands shook as I scrolled through the rest of the messages. They were all the same, flirty, intimate, and filled with the kind of language Kate used to use with me. I didn't recognize Carly's number, but it didn't matter. I knew what was happening now. Kate wasn't just talking to her. They were involved. I didn't know what to do next. My whole world felt like it was falling apart. I wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but I wasn't sure I could handle the truth. I put the phone down and lay back, staring at the ceiling, my mind reeling. Was this it? Was I about to lose her? The woman I'd married? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't understand it. I spent the rest of the night wide awake, wrestling with what I'd seen, trying to figure out what to do. But no matter how many times I replayed the messages in my mind, one question kept coming back. Who was Carly? The next day, I didn't want to talk to Kate. I couldn't pretend everything was fine, but I also wasn't ready to confront her. I buried the hurt, the anger, the questions. She went about her day, kissing me goodbye, telling me to have a good one. I didn't answer. I just nodded. That evening, Kate came home, late again. She barely acknowledged me, just walked in, phone glued to her hand. She headed straight for the bedroom, not a word of greeting. Something inside me snapped. I couldn't do this anymore. I followed her. She was pacing, her phone in hand. It wasn't just a casual check. She was waiting for a message. I could feel the tension, the unspoken distance between us. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I didn't even think about it. Kate, I said, my voice sharp. We need to talk. She turned, her face unreadable, but her eyes widened. About what? I took a deep breath. I saw the texts, the ones with Carly. Her expression froze. She didn't say anything for a long moment, just stared at me. Then slowly, she set her phone down on the bed, like it was something dangerous. I don't know what you're talking about, she said quietly. I took a step closer. Don't lie to me. I saw them. I saw everything. Her shoulders sagged. She wasn't even trying to deny it anymore. It's not what you think. I crossed my arms. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like an affair. Kate flinched, her lips trembling. She reached for me, but stopped halfway. It's not an affair, she said, her voice soft. It just happened. I didn't want it to. I felt my chest tighten. You're telling me you didn't want it? You think I believe that? She looked down, her voice shaking. I never meant to hurt you. Carly, we just connected. It wasn't planned, but I feel something with her, something I haven't felt in a long time. The words stung. She hadn't felt that with me in months, maybe longer. But hearing her say it, hearing her admit it, hit harder than I expected. My hands balled into fists at my sides, but I stayed quiet. I didn't want to scream. I just wanted to understand. I looked at her, but I couldn't find the woman I once knew. The woman who'd promised to be mine, no matter what. She was gone. She took a step toward me. I'm sorry, she whispered, but it felt like the emptiest apology I'd ever heard. I didn't want to hurt you. I never meant for it to go this far. But it had gone too far. I could see it now. The late nights, the secrecy, the lies. She wasn't just talking to Carly. She was emotionally invested. She had chosen someone else. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. The room felt like it was closing in. You're sorry? I finally managed, the words coming out like a bitter laugh. That's it. Kate didn't answer. She just stood there, tears welling in her eyes. She reached out, but I stepped back, my body tense. I couldn't let her touch me, not after this, not after everything. I didn't mean for any of this, she repeated, but her words meant nothing now. The damage was done. I walked out of the room, needing space, needing air. I didn't know where to go from here. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But all I could do was feel the emptiness she left behind. The woman I thought I knew had betrayed me. As I stood in the living room, I realized there was no going back. Something had broken between us, and there was no fixing it now. The days after our conversation were a blur. Kate tried to talk to me, but I couldn't find the words. I'd never felt more alone, even though she was right there beside me. We moved through the motions, meals, work, small talk, but nothing felt real anymore. The space between us had grown into an abyss, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't reach her. I didn't leave. I couldn't. I kept telling myself that I should leave, that I should walk away, and never look back, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. There was a part of me that still wanted to fix it, to make things right. Even though I knew deep down it was already broken. Kate didn't give up. She tried to make things feel normal again. She'd bring me coffee in the mornings, like she used to. She'd kiss me goodbye, with a little more urgency, like she was trying to prove something. But I wasn't fooled. Every touch, every smile, felt like a performance. She was trying to fix something that couldn't be fixed. One night, I came home late from work. I was tired, worn out from the constant weight of the situation. I didn't expect anything to change, but when I walked in, I saw Kate sitting at the kitchen table, her face drawn, her eyes red. She didn't look up when I entered. I set my keys down quietly, not sure what to say, but she spoke first. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice small. "I've been thinking about everything. About us. And I hate myself for what I did." I didn't say anything. I just stood there, staring at her. The apology felt too little, too late. "I don't know what to do," she continued, her voice cracking. "I've messed everything up. I've hurt you, and I can't undo it. But I want to try. I want to fix this. I love you, but I don't know if I can make it right." I felt my stomach tighten. She was saying all the right things, but I wasn't sure I believed any of them. I wanted to, but the truth hung in the air between us, thick and suffocating. She had chosen someone else. She had chosen Carly. And now she was telling me she loved me? "I don't know if you can," I said, the words barely audible. "I don't know if I can trust you again." She looked down, tears falling onto her hands. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I need you to know how sorry I am. I was wrong. I was selfish. I hurt you." The words sounded hollow, even though I knew she meant them. But I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just another attempt to keep me hanging on. Another performance to keep me from walking away. I wanted to yell, to scream at her for what she'd done, for how much she'd destroyed. But I stayed quiet. I was too exhausted, too numb to feel anything, except the slow, painful realization that everything between us was over. "I don't think I can do this anymore, Kate," I said, finally finding my voice. "I don't think I can keep pretending." She looked up at me, her face pale, like I had just punched her in the stomach. "Please," she whispered, "don't say that. Please don't leave me." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to leave, to walk away and never look back. But the other part of me, the part that still loved her, that still wanted to believe in us, couldn't let go. But there was nothing left to hold on to. The trust had been shattered, and I wasn't sure if I could ever piece it back together. I turned and walked out of the room, needing space, needing silence. I couldn't be in the same place as her anymore, not with all the lies hanging between us. I didn't know what to do next. The easy answer was to leave, but it wasn't that simple. I had to figure out who I was now, without her. And I had to figure out who she was. Because the woman who stood in front of me, begging for forgiveness, was someone I didn't recognize. The next few days felt like I was just going through the motions. Kate kept trying to reach me. Texts, notes, quiet apologies. But nothing could break the distance between us. The lies had built walls I wasn't sure could come down. I didn't want to talk, didn't want to face the reality of what had happened. But I knew I couldn't avoid it forever. On the fourth day, I agreed to sit down. I don't know why. Maybe because I still thought I owed her something, or maybe because I couldn't let go of the idea that we could somehow fix this. I walked into the living room. She was sitting there, red-eyed and drained. I could tell she hadn't slept in days. "You wanted to talk?" I asked, keeping my voice flat, trying to hide how hurt I was. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. "I've been thinking about everything. About us. I hate myself for what I did." I didn't respond. I just stood there, staring at her. Her words felt like empty echoes. Apologies didn't fix anything. I don't know what to do, she continued, voice trembling. I've ruined everything. I've hurt you, and I can't take it back. But I want to try. I love you, but I don't know if I can make it right. I felt numb. I don't know if you can, I said, the words tasting bitter. How can I trust you again? She looked down, tears falling onto her hands. I was confused, she whispered. Things between us changed, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Carly was there for me. I didn't want it to go this far. I never wanted to hurt you. I shook my head. You chose to hurt me. You chose her. Her eyes widened, like she hadn't expected that to cut so deep. I never meant to. I just got lost. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't stop the frustration rising. That's not an excuse. You didn't just get lost. You made a choice, Kate. Over and over. She stepped toward me, her hands reaching out, but I pulled back. I couldn't let her touch me. I never wanted to hurt you, she said again, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't think I can do this anymore, I said, the words feeling final. I don't think I can love you the same way. Her face fell. What? What do you mean? You don't love me anymore, I said, finally voicing the truth. You love Carly. You've been in love with her for months, and I've been blind to it. No, she said, shaking her head. I do love you. I looked at her. The woman I had once known so well, now a stranger. No, Kate, you don't. You've crossed a line, and I don't think we can come back from that. She reached for me, her voice breaking. Please don't leave me. I'll fix this. I stepped back, cold anger flooding through me. I can't be here anymore. I can't keep pretending nothing happened. I can't trust you, and I can't love you the same way. Her face crumpled, and she sank into the chair behind her. I'm sorry, please, don't leave. I didn't know what I was feeling anymore. Guilt, anger, relief, maybe all three. I grabbed my things, not looking back. I couldn't keep living in this lie. As I walked out the door, I knew I had to leave. I had to. There was no way to fix this anymore. Not with her, not with me. The days after I left, Kate felt like a strange mix of numbness and clarity. It wasn't like I was relieved, more like I was just going through the motions of surviving. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. I'd think about what happened, about her and Carly, and it felt like I was drowning. But at least I wasn't pretending anymore. At least I was finally facing the truth. I stayed with a friend for the first week. I needed space, time to breathe. The silence was deafening. The apartment felt empty, every corner reminding me of Kate. Her touch, her scent, the way she used to leave little notes for me to find. I couldn't even sit in the living room without feeling like I was suffocating. Kate tried to call a few times. I didn't answer. What was there to say? What could she possibly say that would change anything? She'd made her choice. She'd picked Carly over me, and I couldn't go back from that. I didn't know how to trust her again, even if she came to me on her knees. The first few days, I let the anger consume me. I thought about everything. Her lies, her betrayal, the way she'd shut me out before it all came to this. I wanted to be angry, to make her feel the weight of what she'd done. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized something. I was just as much to blame as she was. I had ignored the signs. I had let things slip by without asking the right questions, without paying attention to the distance between us. By the end of the week, I started to miss her. I couldn't deny it. I missed her laugh, the way she'd curl up next to me after a long day, the way we used to talk about everything and nothing. I missed the woman who had once been my best friend. But that woman was gone now, replaced by someone I didn't recognize, someone who had betrayed me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd made the wrong decision. Maybe I should have given her a chance to explain, to try and make things right. But how could I trust her after everything? How could I give her a second chance when I couldn't even trust myself anymore? One evening, I found myself driving past our old apartment. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to go back. But there I was, parked outside, staring at the building that used to be home. I thought about Kate, about the life we had built, and I felt a pang of longing. I stayed there for a while, just sitting in the car, wrestling with the pull to go inside, to knock on the door and see if she was there. But I couldn't. I couldn't do that to myself again. I knew that if I went back, it would be like stepping into quicksand. I'd get pulled back into her lies, her promises, the hope that things could be fixed. But I knew deep down, things had changed. I had changed. As I sat there, I realized something. I wasn't just leaving her behind. I was leaving behind the version of myself that had allowed her to hurt me. I was leaving behind the part of me that was afraid to face the truth. The part of me that had been too blind to see what was really happening. It wasn't just about Kate anymore. It was about me. It was about finding my own way again, finding who I was without her. I started the car and drove away. I didn't look back. The days passed in a blur. I kept myself busy, work, friends, anything to avoid sitting in silence and thinking about everything that had happened. Slowly, the sharp pain of betrayal dulled to a quiet ache. I wasn't over it, but I was learning to breathe again. I spent more time alone than I had in years, getting used to the space without Kate. For so long, she'd been my constant, filling every corner of my life. Now, I had to figure out how to fill those spaces myself. It was hard. There were moments of loneliness, but in a strange way, it felt like freedom. The pressure was gone. I wasn't trying to be something for her anymore. One night, I picked up my phone and scrolled through old messages. I wasn't sure what I expected to find. Maybe a hint of a warning I had missed, something to explain how we ended up here. I stopped when I saw a text from Kate, one I hadn't noticed before. It was from a month before everything fell apart. "We need to talk. Something's off between us." I stared at it for a moment, unsure of what to feel. I hadn't seen it when it was sent. Maybe it had been there, or maybe it had been deleted. Either way, it didn't matter now. She had made her choice long before that message. She'd already stepped away, long before I knew it was happening. I shut the phone off and set it down. What good would it do to dwell on the past? I couldn't change anything. I had to keep moving forward. It wasn't just about Kate anymore. It was about me, about finding myself again. I started seeing a therapist. I don't know why it took me so long. I guess I thought I could work through it on my own. That time would fix things. But it didn't. It only pushed the pain deeper, burying it until I couldn't breathe. Talking to someone helped clear my head. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like I was sinking. As the days went by, I began to feel stronger. There were still moments when I missed Kate, when the memories came flooding back. But I was getting better at living without her. I was getting better at living for myself. And then, one afternoon, I saw her. I was walking out of the coffee shop when I almost bumped into Kate. For a second, I thought it was a trick of my mind. But no, it was her. She looked different. Tired, maybe. Not the woman I remembered, but still the same in a way. She was standing there, hesitant, almost unsure if she should speak. "Hey," she said, her voice fragile. "I didn't expect to see you." I froze. We just stared at each other for a moment. I could feel the weight of everything between us, the distance, the hurt. "How are you?" she asked, her voice barely audible. I hadn't seen her in weeks, and I still wasn't sure how to feel. But I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad. It was like everything had turned to dust, and I was left with nothing but the echoes of what was. "I'm okay," I said, the words simple, true, but not enough. "I'm doing okay." She nodded, her eyes starting to water. I could tell she wanted to say something more, but I didn't know what she could possibly say. I didn't know what I wanted to hear anymore. "I'm sorry," she whispered, "for everything. I wish I could take it all back." I wanted to respond, to say something that would fix it. But I didn't. It was too late for that. There were no more words left between us. "Take care of yourself, Kate," I said quietly, turning to walk away. I didn't look back. The encounter with Kate stayed with me longer than I expected. I kept replaying that brief moment in the street, her voice, her eyes, like she was still trying to hold on to something that was already gone. But I didn't regret walking away. In that moment, I knew I had made the right choice, even if it didn't feel like it. Life didn't stop, though. The days moved on. Work, friends, the small routines I'd built to fill the gaps. Everything continued. But nothing felt quite the same. I had changed. I wasn't the person I was before Kate. I didn't know who I was becoming, but I knew I couldn't go back to who I was. It was strange how quickly the absence of someone could take over your world. I found myself thinking about her less and less, but when the memories did come, they came with a new weight. I wasn't angry anymore, but I wasn't ready to forgive her either. That part of me, the part that had trusted her, loved her without question, was gone, buried under the weight of what she'd done. Then one night, I got a text from an unknown number. At first I thought it was spam, but then I saw the name at the top of the message. Carly. I stared at the message for a long time, my heart pounding. I didn't know what I was expecting, but I didn't expect this. I opened it. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. Kate needs to be honest with you. Please, talk to her. I don't want to be the one standing in the way of your future. I blinked, reading the message again. Carly. The other woman. I didn't know whether to be angry or just numb. I wanted to call Kate, to demand answers, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. They had already made their choices. The damage was done. I didn't respond to Carly. I wasn't sure why she felt the need to apologize, or why she thought reaching out would make a difference. Maybe she thought it would ease her conscience. But all I could think about was how nothing in this situation had been about me. I wasn't a part of their story anymore. I was just the aftermath. The next few days felt different. I wasn't sure if it was because of Carly's message or because I was finally accepting what had happened. I didn't want to be angry anymore. I didn't want to carry that weight around. I wanted peace. Not for Kate, but for myself. I started focusing on other things. I picked up old hobbies, things I had stopped doing when I was wrapped up in the relationship. I took long walks by the lake, started reading books again, and even took a weekend trip to the mountains. For the first time in months, I felt a small flicker of joy. It wasn't much, but it was something. One evening, I sat on the balcony of my apartment, watching the sun set, and for the first time since I'd left, I realized I was okay. I wasn't fixed, I wasn't whole, but I was surviving. I was learning how to be me again. Kate's ghost no longer lingered in every corner of my life. And though I couldn't say I had forgiven her, I had finally found the space to breathe without her. And maybe, just maybe, I was starting to believe that I could find happiness again. A few months passed. Life had settled into a routine again, one that didn't involve Kate, didn't revolve around the empty space she had left behind. I kept moving forward, one foot in front of the other, and with each day, I felt a little lighter. The pain didn't sting as much. I wasn't healed, but I was no longer drowning in it. I could breathe. I never heard from Kate again, after that brief encounter on the street. I didn't know if that was a good thing or not, but it didn't matter. I had to stop waiting for her, stop hoping for some grand gesture or apology. She had made her choices. She had chosen Carly. She had chosen herself. And in the end, that was something I had to respect, even if it hurt. But one evening, just as the chill of autumn started to settle in, I got a call. The number was unfamiliar, but something about it felt familiar enough to make my stomach drop. It was Kate. "Hey," she said, her voice tentative, like she wasn't sure how to begin. I stood there, frozen for a moment. I had thought I was done with her, that I'd moved on. But hearing her voice again brought everything rushing back. I'd been prepared for this moment, but now that it was here, I wasn't sure what to do. "Kate," I said, my voice steady. "It's been a while." "I know," she replied quietly. "I'm sorry. I didn't want to reach out, but I needed to tell you something." I sat down on the couch, my heart racing. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. Carly and I were not together anymore. I didn't say anything. The silence between us stretched, filled with so many unsaid things. I didn't call to ask for anything, she continued, her voice breaking. I just wanted to tell you the truth, that it wasn't just about her. I was scared. I was selfish, and I hurt you, and I hate myself for that. But I've been trying to understand why I did what I did. I let her words hang in the air, unsure of how to respond. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She wasn't even asking for a second chance. She was just talking. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fix what I did, Kate said, her voice quiet now, vulnerable. But I needed you to know that I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of it all. The weight of the months I had spent healing, of the anger I had carried for so long. But there was no bitterness now. There was no need to lash out. I had let go of all of that a long time ago. I appreciate you calling, I said, my voice calm. But I've moved on. I've had to. I've learned to live without you. Kate's breath hitched on the other end. I know, she whispered. I just needed you to know that I understand now. We stayed silent for a few seconds, and then I finally spoke again, this time more firmly. I hope you find what you're looking for, Kate, but I'm not that person anymore, and I'm okay with that. There was another pause before she said, take care of yourself. I didn't respond right away. I wasn't sure there was anything left to say. Finally, I hung up. I sat there in the quiet, listening to the faint hum of the city outside my window. I had come so far from the person I was when Kate and I first met. I had learned that sometimes letting go wasn't about moving on to something else. It was about releasing the weight of something that no longer belonged in your life. And I had done that. I didn't need closure. I didn't need her to fix it, because in the end, I was the one who had to heal. And I was healing, piece by piece.